We are going to talk about the need for Donald Trump to employ advocacy skills in his forth and coming debates. But before I go into talking about that, I would like to congratulate Senator Harris and Vice President Pence on their much more organized, matured, educated, role-modeled behavior in their debate.
Sacrifices that they have made, putting the health of their family and their neighbors first, our doctors, our nurses, our first responders.
Thank you, Vice President Pence.
And I'm going to speak up on behalf of what the American people have done.
Vice President Pence, you were in the front row in a Rose Garden event 11 days ago at what seems to have been a super spreader event for senior administration and Congress.
State of California, where I ran the second largest Department of Justice in the United States, second only to the United States Department of Justice.
Given Trump and Biden's debate, I think that universities around the world must incorporate learned behavior in their curriculum.
Is absolutely a big thing. That was the worst part of Obamacare.
Sir,
Chris, that was the worst part of Obamacare.
Let me ask my question.
Well, I'll ask Joe. The individual mandate was the most unpopular aspect of Obamacare. I got rid of it.
I'd like you
and we will protect people with
President, I'm the moderator of this
conditions.
debate, and I would like you to let me ask my question, and then you can answer your question.
By this, I mean that universities around the world must map out a subject called behavior for all and sundry that attends university, that sees the forwards of university. Now, Donald Trump can employ advocacy skills in his debates, because from his debate with Hillary Clinton to his debate with Joe Biden, the words they use, their mode of conduct, which is arisen by Donald Trump most of the time, shakes our emotions. It fidgets someone like myself. So I think that Donald Trump's advisors must teach him to use or employ advocacy skills in his debates, in his campaigns, even in his everyday dealings in the White House with people.
The vast majority
Premiums are too high, and it doesn't work. So we do want to get rid of it. Chris, we want to get rid of it.
I understand it, sir, but I have to give you roughly equal time. Please let the Vice President talk.
Good.
he has.
Now, what is advocacy? Advocacy is a skill which is learned and used to support or suggest an idea, development, or way of doing things. The act of persuading someone to your point of view and or reject their point of view. The function of advocacy. Advocacy can be used in our everyday lives. For example, in debates, in whatever you do, when you have opponent, you can employ the skills of advocacy to be effective, efficient, and steadfast in your points in convincing, persuading, and making your point known, received, and putting them across. The philosopher Aristotle, 384 BC, suggested 3 components to effective advocacy. In other words, 3 components of effective way of speaking. So you have ethos, way of speaking, you have pathos, way of speaking, and you have logos, way of speaking. How important is advocacy? How important is advocacy, particularly for debates such one as American debate? Advocacy skills teaches you to choose your language, to choose appropriate language for the audience, and the topic, making yourself sound fair and unbiased. So you can use advocacy skills in making public speech. For example, you can employ the first component of advocacy, which is ethos. You speak to the audience, letting them know why you want to become, in the case of Donald Trump, president again. Advocacy skills will teach you how to put your points across without using nasty words, without being rude, without sounding aggressive, without using strong sentences that will disturb the emotions of the people you are talking to. Now, the last debate Donald Trump had with Joe Biden was emotionally troubling. You must learn to use the pathos component of advocacy in, for example, telling your supporters and emphasizing on your key points. You can actually say something without being rude. I think that's the point I'm trying to make here. You can say something without being rude. Now, one of the most popular advocacy skills you can use in your debate, in your campaign, is pathos. Now, according to Martin Luther in August 1963 said, "Continue to walk with faith that unending suffering is redemptive. Go back to Mississippi, go back to Alabama, go back to South Carolina, go back to Georgia, go back to Louisiana, go back to the slums and ghettos of our northern cities, knowing that somehow this situation can and will be changed." That was Martin Luther's using pathos component of advocacy in his speech. When you work with something like this every day, or you have worked with something like this in your life, the way you talk, the way you reason, the way you assess, analyze, and approach topics will change. And that, I apologize to say, with Donald Trump's last debates with Hillary Clinton, Joe Biden, it was difficult to establish that he's gone through things like this in his life, although he indeed has. However, I would like to summarize this section by saying that the Vice President, Mike Pence, was asked what would his boss do should they not win the election. He went on to state what they have done already and how they want the American people to vote for them, which in my opinion, it's absolutely okay. It's campaign. They want to keep the power. But then he did not answer what would his boss, Donald Trump, do if he did not win the election. No one knows who's going to win this election. No one knows. And if Donald Trump did not win, what would he do? Mike Pence went round and around and around and said several different things, though relevant, but did not answer that question. He dodged that question. In an examination, he is a failure. If that was an examination, in whatever course you're doing, you have failed. You will fail. You would have to repeat. You would have to resubmit that work, or you would have to repeat that module because you did not address the question asked.